You tell yourself you're fine. You laugh louder, work harder. You surround yourself with noise, with friends, with distractions, and for a moment it works. You start to believe maybe you've moved on, but healing isn't loud. It's not the smile in a group photo. It's not the caption that says, "New chapter." And it's not the block button you tapped one night out of rage or pride or pain. No, real healing is silent, unseen. It happens at 2 a.m. when everyone's asleep and your heart is still awake. It happens when her favorite song plays at the cafe and you don't feel your throat tighten. It happens when you no longer try to prove you're over her, because the moment you stop trying to look healed, that's when healing finally begins. You see, most people confuse silence with emptiness. They think not speaking means you've given up. But sometimes, silence means you've started listening to yourself. It means the war outside has stopped mattering as much as the one inside. And that is the illusion we all fall for. That moving on is about deleting. That it's about blocking. That it's about forgetting. But in truth, it's never about erasing her. It's about reclaiming you, the version of you before her, the version of you that lost his voice trying to please someone who never really heard him. This illusion, this false moving on, it's just another mask. A performance you put on for the world, hoping one day it becomes real. But deep down, you're not over her. Not yet. And that's okay. Because the first step to growing beyond someone is admitting that you haven't. You thought blocking her would help, but the hardest part isn't removing her from your phone. It's removing her from your mind. You thought blocking her would help, and for a moment, it did. There was relief in the silence, a sense of power maybe, like you finally took control. But here's the truth no one tells you. Removing someone from your phone doesn't remove them from your thoughts. You block her account, but not the memory of her falling asleep on your chest. You silence her stories, but not the echo of her laugh in your kitchen. You erase the chat history, but not the way she said your name when she was scared or soft or smiling. Blocking might give you peace, but it doesn't give you closure. Because healing isn't about cutting off contact. It's about cutting off the version of you that couldn't exist without her. The part of you that was addicted to the highs she gave you, and the pain she left behind. You see, love is a strange drug. Even when it hurts, you miss the hit. Even when it's gone, your brain keeps reaching for the memory. And that's what makes moving on so hard. Not the absence of her presence, but the ghost of her habits, living in you. So what do? Do you block her again on a new app? Do you start over with someone else just to feel something familiar? No, because healing doesn't come from escape. It comes from confrontation, from sitting in the discomfort long enough to learn from it, from not turning away every time her face flashes in your mind. You don't grow by deleting, you grow by understanding. You grow by facing the parts of you that still hurt and giving them permission to heal. So no, blocking her wasn't wrong. But it was never the answer. The answer was never about hiding her. It was always about finding you again. And you don't find yourself by running. You find yourself by stopping and asking, who am I now that she's gone? Who am I without her love? It's not her presence that haunts you. It's the version of yourself you gave up to love her. It wasn't her leaving that broke you. It was what you became in the silence after. It was the version of yourself you barely recognized anymore, the one who stared at his phone, waiting for a message that would never come, the one who rehearsed conversations in his head only to say nothing at all. You weren't just heartbroken. You were at war, not with her, but with yourself, because the truth is, there's a part of you that still wants her back. Still imagines a version of reality where she chooses you again, where she wakes up one morning and remembers how much you meant, how much you gave. But then there's the other part of you, the part that's angry, The part that remembers all the times you begged for love and got silence. All the nights you stayed while she pulled away. All the parts of yourself you watered down just to be enough. And between those two parts, the one that still hopes and the one that refuses to forget, there's a war. A quiet, invisible war that plays out every time you see someone who looks like her. Every time you hear a song you once danced to. Every time you smile in public but fall apart at night. And this war, it exhausts you, not because you're weak, but because you're still carrying two versions of yourself. The man you were with her, and the man you're trying to become without her. You can't heal while still defending your pain. You can't grow while still feeding the fantasy. So let me ask you, what if you stopped fighting her memory? What if you stopped needing her to come back to feel whole again? Because healing is not about choosing sides. It's about choosing peace, choosing to lay your weapons down, to let the version of you that suffered rest, and to let the version of you that survived rise. You've been bleeding inside long enough. Now it's time to stop picking at the scabs. Let the wound become a scar. Let the scar become a story. Let the story become strength. This isn't about her anymore. It's about you. About the man you'll be when you stop hurting. The man who no longer waits for closure because he realized he was the closure all along. Outgrowing isn't about forgetting. It's about no longer needing what once broke you. Outgrowing her didn't look like you thought it would. It didn't come with fireworks, no dramatic goodbye, no sudden wave of clarity that made everything okay. It came quietly, in moments you didn't even notice at first. It came the day you heard her favorite song and didn't feel a thing. It came when you walked past someone who looked like her and didn't freeze. It came when you finally stopped checking her stories, when you stopped wondering if she still thought of you, when you realized you hadn't thought of her in days. Outgrowing her wasn't a single moment. It was a series of small ones. It was choosing not to text her when you felt lonely. It was laughing again, genuinely. It was hearing your own voice in your head louder than hers. It was the day you looked in the mirror and saw someone stronger. Not bitter, not broken. Just free. You didn't hate her anymore. You didn't need to. Because you had something far more powerful than revenge, peace. And that's how you know you've outgrown her. Not when you stop loving her, but when loving her no longer costs you yourself. You didn't win her back, but you won something better yourself. You didn't win her back, but that was never the point, was it? You thought healing meant somehow making her return, proving your worth, showing her what she lost. But now, you see it differently. Healing isn't getting her back. It's getting yourself back. It's waking up in the morning and not feeling heavy. It's smiling at your own reflection, not because you're perfect, but because you've survived. It's realizing the silence no longer screams. The nights don't ache like they used to, and your happiness doesn't depend on someone else anymore. You lost her, yes, but you found your strength. You found your calm. You found your future. And maybe, just maybe, that was the win you needed all along. You stopped chasing closure. You became your own closure. You stopped chasing closure. Stopped needing that final conversation. Stopped waiting for her to say, "I'm sorry for hurting you," because you finally understood. Closure isn't something they give you. It's something you create within. It's not in the answers you never got. It's in the acceptance you finally chose. You stopped replaying the last message. Stopped reading between lines that led nowhere. You no longer needed to make sense of why it ended. Because some stories don't need neat conclusions. Some chapters just close. And you became your own ending. You looked at the wreckage and decided to rebuild, not for her, not for revenge, but for peace. You chose to move forward without permission, without apology, without needing anything from the person who broke you. That's what real strength looks like. It's not loud, it's quiet, but steady, unshakable. And in that stillness, you found yourself again, the love you were searching for in her. You finally gave it to yourself. The love you were searching for in her. You finally gave it to yourself. The patience, the forgiveness, the softness, the space to feel, to heal, to grow. You stopped begging others to choose you. Stopped shrinking yourself just to be accepted. You stopped confusing pain with passion. You learned that love, real love, doesn't hurt like that. It doesn't leave you guessing. It doesn't require you to lose yourself to keep it. And maybe she couldn't love you the way you needed. Maybe she didn't know how. But that's not your fault. Because now you do. You know how to love yourself. To stay. To listen. To protect your peace. To walk away when it costs your dignity. And that version of you, the one who chooses themselves without guilt, that's the one you were always meant to become. So now, you didn't lose in love. You simply stopped losing yourself for it. You didn't have to block her. You just had to outgrow her. And you did. Beautifully. If this message found you at the right time, maybe it's because you were finally ready to hear it. And if you needed this, share it with someone else who might too. Let this be your reminder. You never needed to prove your worth to someone who couldn't see it. You just needed to come home. To you.